I held my breath for the entire flight from New York to New Delhi. I was both filled with anticipation at the possibility of the colour and wonder of India and terrified of the unknown.
Large electronic devices like
When I landed in New Delhi, I was comforted and relieved by the artwork I saw at the airport. What a delight to see a celebration of inner strength and peace in a sculpture of the 12 yoga poses of the sun salutation. And a painting of a saint leading a long line of people. But when I arrived in welcoming Pune, the Oxford of the East, like a frog thrown into a pot of boiling water, I was confronted by the throbbing, unmonitored stream of motor consciousness that is Indian traffic. They have no traffic lights, just an endless stream of cars, motorbikes and rickshaws weaving and worming their way around each other to get the best position. You have to just throw yourself into the flow of traffic to get across the street. You take your life into your own hands every time you cross the street. And the constant beeping of the horns. But wait, if you put a Bollywood beat beneath it, it's quite catchy. And there you have the Song of India. And when you get to the other side of the street, you might find a tea wallah selling small cups of chai for 10 rupees. That's less than 1/10 of a cent, right outside the local Starbucks. There are street vendors on nearly every corner, a natural meeting place for men. And dust. You'll find lots of dust. Even the leaves are dusty. There are also many instructional murals for a clean India, and there are signs everywhere that feature Gandhi's glasses recommending a clean India. Everyone is doing their bit to get rid of the dust. Our privileges cannot be greater than our obligation. My first priority was to find a supermarket or department store where I could get a few essentials. But what was marked as a supermarket on Google Maps turned out to be a garage-sized tiny store packed with odds and sods I didn't recognize. Or a roadside stall glamorously titled a general store, but not a supermarket at all. Most stores were just garage-sized cubes with no storefront and a rolling garage door. It's always so hot, no need for a storefront. Though some stores do have glass fronts. Educate a girl, empower the world. I went across the Yerwada Bridge to the local Yerwada village to see the street life. I walked through the village market in search of the elusive essentials. But I did find a vendor who had some Gandhi white toppies that I could wear to blend in with the locals. So I thought. The locals, however, sniggered. Then I found out that the white Gandhi toppies had been the symbol for the struggle of Indian independence from the British in the 1940s. Just off the market, a very poor annex. There are some very wealthy and extravagant houses just nearby, but they have high walls and gates with frosted glass to keep out the stares. Some even have guards to stop you from photographing their gates. All together on a long, quiet, tree-lined street. What's surprising and refreshing about India is the openly acknowledged presence of gods everywhere. Unexpectedly, in an unusual place, you'll find a statue or picture of a god. Blessing you and sending you good vibrations. There are shrines and temples to gods everywhere, on the side of the road or in the middle of traffic, large and small. Namaste. My soul honors your soul. I honor the place in you where the entire universe resides. I honor the light, love, truth, beauty and peace within you, because it is also within me. In sharing these things, we are united. We are the same. We are one. People praying all the time, everywhere, ever reminding you that God is everywhere all the time. And the cow is sacred everywhere to everyone. I've no beef with that. well, maybe a little impatience. After a few more failed expeditions, I finally found D-Mart, a Target-like department store where they had food, toiletries, clothes, kitchenware, vegetables and frozen food. And a real checkout. And that whole pile of food ended up costing 1,461 rupees, which is $15.96. And I got all my essentials: a spoon and a fork, band-aids for the blisters on my feet from walking everywhere, an electric kettle, tea bags, and a cup, a plug for the sink, dishwashing liquid to wash my underwear in the sink, and a clothesline for a place to hang my wet clothes in the window, scissors to cut open all those pneumatically sealed packets, and some Scotch tape. Did I mention that I was staying at the Osho International Meditation Resort? Unfortunately, they don't allow photography, so I only managed to shoot a little clandestine footage. The approach to the guest house, the guest house foyer, my room, an early morning stroll through the lush green grounds. And the auditorium during the day and at night, where they have a different meditation every hour from before dawn to well into the night. But you'll have to imagine all that for yourself. The evidence that the British are long gone from India and that the Commonwealth is undone can be seen in sometimes poor and sometimes funny English. Thursday. Obviously the Indians invented a new day so they can have more time to skate. Laundry and tailoring. Honestly, I think we all would have parked in front of the no parking sign. Keep your distance doesn't mean stay 6 feet apart. It means stay away. There isn't a single word in the English language with a double R, except of course trading. Way to foot over bridge. Way to footbridge. Over and out. Fixed right. It looks right, doesn't it? Hos Hang Boys High School? I think you'll find the English expression is Horse Hung Boys High School. At least that's the one I went to. And if I was to recommend a place to visit in all of India, it would have to be Shithole Square. You are different. Why drink the common? In India, two men walking down the street holding hands doesn't mean what you think. Three guys walking with their arms on each other's shoulders. It's not what you think. L doesn't mean loser in India. Praying is always what you think. A man juggling a bottle doesn't mean anything in India. A swastika doesn't mean what you thought it meant in India. Garbage and high-rise don't mean what you think. Selling just iPhone covers in one long arcade is not what it seems. Or is it? Things can pile up quickly when you are living in a garage. When a woman needs another handbag, it's not what you think. A straw made from a bamboo leaf. What do you think? And Gandhi toppies are not like the newspaper hats my father used to make for me when I was a child. Many of the roads haven't been properly sealed. Only the central part of the road is covered with tar. Dirt paths remain on either side, making dust ubiquitous. But there are many paths of many colors to travel in India. Just be careful where you tread. You might step into someone else's sticky mess. The more I continued to wait on the side of the road to cross the street, and the more I watched motorbikes, cars and rickshaws weaving and worming around one another, the more I realized that I slid and dived around over and under people in the same way on the dance floor. People told me not to go on the metro railway because I would get lost. But I went anyway. There were signs everywhere in Hindi and English. It allowed me to see and experience things I would otherwise have never seen. From modern to slum in the blink of an eye, and then back again. The new 4-year-old metro railway is very clean, pristine and modern. The handrails on the escalators are purple, as are the hang straps on the purple line and blue on the blue line. The new metro railway is a sharp contrast to the old interurban railway station. All the bad behaviours are still being practiced there, like crossing railway tracks, and jumping off the train before it has fully stopped. Outside, watching over everything, Gandhi is still walking. The dogs of India don't need you. The dogs of India don't need you to take them for a walk. The dogs of India are happy just to lie in the sun all day long. The dogs of India don't bark or growl or keep howling all night long. They don't even notice you. The dogs of India are not happy to see you. The dogs of India don't leap up for joy when you come by. The dogs of India haven't been taught to behave like humans. The dogs of India behave like dogs. The dogs of India don't need you to feed them. The dogs of India don't need you to pet or stroke them. They're happy to just lie in the sun all day long. The dogs of India don't need your affection or your attention. The dogs of India don't need to know you care. Don't be sad. The dogs of India don't want you, don't need you. The dogs of India don't want to be your pet. They're happy just to lie in the sun all day long. Ah, but someone does feed them, though they don't seem to be keen on digestive biscuits. Many stores and vendors have shrines or statues of gods in their stores. Or work near a shrine. The spirit and the material are united as one. They take great pride in their work. Work is worship, and worship is work. And life is a dance.
1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half.
They do have modern shopping centres in India, but they are just boring American-style malls. I'd much rather the street-side vendors. With their own individual style. And their own unique approach. Like using a megaphone to sell rock melons. And the lively street markets, where you'll find everything from jewels to trash. It's also where you'll see boys playing with kites rather than mobile phones. And no road construction is ever going to stop a vendor from setting up shop in the usual place, whatever the dirt. There's nothing quite like pushing your way through a crowded market on Sunday afternoon when all the women seem to come out to shop.
पाचशेला जायला पाहिजे होतं फक्त.
However, many stores on Fashion Street, Lakshmi Road, are empty. And store assistants are just waiting to pounce with a real bargain on anyone who even looks their way. But wait, isn't that the sound of sugarcane juice bells? That will cure everyone's blues. And that's just as well, because celebrations for Lord Ganesha's birthday were taking place all over town.
Japa Kutuman Gajam Kachapem Mariam Tamorim Sarvana Pradosi Agra Surya Namaswaha. Japa Kutuman Gajam Kachapem Mariam Tamorim Sarvana Pradosi Agra Surya Namaswaha. Japa Kutuman Gajam Kachapem Mariam Tamorim Sarvana Pradosi Agra Surya Namaswaha. Japa Kutumantan Kasham Kashapem Marjim Tamorim Sarvabana Pradoshi Agra Surya Namaswaha. Dadihanga Tujarabam Shirodanam Namam Shashinam Somam Shambana Promotion Somai Namaswaha.
गार्डन मित्रमंडळ सालाबादप्रमाणे यंदाही श्री गणेश जन्म सुरू झालेला आहे. तर सर्व श्री गणेश भक्तांना विनंती, महाप्रसादाचा लाभ घ्या. स्वागतम स्वागतम सुस्वागतम.
And the next day, the decorations are taken down. But the people still pass by to see the Ganesh statue, which can be seen from the roadside through an opening in the wall. The Raja Dinka Kelkar Museum is a unique 3-story house museum filled with artifacts, tools, musical instruments, textiles, sculptures, and household items. From various parts of India's geography and culture that Dr. Dinka Kelkar collected over many years as a real-life educational diorama and a very moving memorial and tribute for his son Raja, who died at the age of 6. Family is very important in India, the foundation for everything. Do it all and risk it all for the family. That's why on Sundays the whole family goes out for a ride on a motorbike built for 2. Oh, sorry, a motorbike built for 3 or 4. But that might explain the extraordinary India Republic Day Parade motorcycle displays that I watched on TV.
Colleagues, marching forward in the Garuda formation, symbolizing fearlessness and courage soaring high. And now, this formation staying for peace.
There's a remarkable lack of sexuality on the streets of India. No flaunting of sex anywhere to be seen. Just neutral clothes horses everywhere, displaying clothes directly out on the street. At most, I saw 1 or 2 adverts for men's singlets and underpants. Such a relief not to be constantly sexually assaulted. There's also no or little graffiti in India. I found just 1 instance of graffiti. And instead of disrespectful scribble, I found many instructional murals that uplift and inspire. Even wet concrete requires no barriers around it and isn't immediately covered in initials and slogans by vandals. Meanwhile, in New York, this newly built wall was covered in graffiti within hours of being built. It seems like the 6 mental enemies hindering spiritual growth, as described in the Bhagavad Gita, are well and truly handled in India. Karma, lust, desire. Krodha, anger. Lobha, greed. Moha, delusion, attachment. Mada, ego, vanity. Matsarya, jealousy, envy. The atmosphere is so easy and comfortable and free of ego and rage. It makes you feel so peaceful. Where you put the dynamic determines the flow of your life.
plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha.
The people I encountered and met in India, no guile, with beautiful hair, such beautiful hair. No pretense. No makeup. No spin. Grandmother and grandson sifting flour right there on the street. Next to a shrine. Just innocent, humble, egoless, self-effacing, simple and kind-hearted people with beautiful hair, such beautiful hair. With beautiful hair, such beautiful hair. Restaurant, and kitchen, no fancy scam. All the walls are down, nothing to hide. Everything is visible. Innocence is always beautiful. As the sun rises in Varanasi, the oldest continuously inhabited city in the world, and the spiritual capital and holiest city of the god Shiva in India, people dip into the Ganges to purify and wash themselves of sin. And monks chant mantras to the holy Ganges for the benefit of all mankind. The priests offer a song of worship known as Arati, with bells and drums and flowers, to the goddess Ganga and the five elements, earth, water, fire, sky and air, and the four cardinal points, to symbolize the purification of the self and the environment, and to welcome the day with gratitude. Nearby, the crematoriums burn the bodies of the dead on wooden pyres. Many people come to Varanasi specifically to die there. The ashes of the dead bodies are thrown into the Ganges. The streets close to the Ganges River are narrow and small. But that doesn't stop anyone from getting by. Every house has a temple inside it, and some are available to any passerby. There's a Ganesh statue over every doorway to protect the inhabitants and remove obstacles. And every available space is filled with motorbikes. Every evening in Varanasi, the evening arati is performed all along the shoreline. 7 priests burn sandalwood, ghee and butter in all 4 cardinal directions to give thanks to the river Mother Ganges for all the day's blessings. The words of the arati in part say, Om Hail Ganga Goddess, Mother Hail Ganga Mother. Whoever meditates on you finds his heart's desire. Om Hail Ganges Goddess. Whoever takes refuge in you, that man is saved. The village of Sarnath, 5 miles northeast of Varanasi, has many beautiful murals of scenes from the life of Buddha, which I loved so much, but only got to see from a moving car. Sarnath is the place where Buddha gave his first sermon to his 5 closest friends. The stupa, or shrine, that commemorates Buddha's first sermon is supposed to contain remains of the Buddha. The nearby archaeological Buddha Museum contains many statues of Buddha. It was built by the British to house the remains of the unearthed monasteries around the site of Buddha's first sermon that had been destroyed by invading Muslim armies. The highlight of the museum is the masterful statue of Buddha in a sublimely serene and blissful state of enlightenment, preaching his first sermon. If you have a minor accident on the highway in India, you're basically on your own. The locals will come out to help and look at you, and everyone will have an idea or two. But basically, you will have to wait till another car comes to pick you up. Could be hours. I'm always happy to investigate a new shopping centre though, so I'm not worried. In India, you lose your sense of place, identity, and direction. Everything is so makeshift. contemporary, in progress, dilapidated, dusty, in repair, desolate, harsh, dry, sun-soaked, with all the life drained out of it. One place is as good as another. So little is needed. As for the amenities, then I remember that in India I am in paradise, whatever the circumstances.
Wherever I go, I'm always there. Whenever I come, I'm always here.
There are many temples and statues of Buddha in Bodhgaya, the place where Buddha achieved enlightenment. Each expresses the national and cultural characteristics of the people that built them. The 100-foot-long reclining Buddha, unveiled in 2022, was commissioned by the Vietnamese Buddha International Welfare Mission.
Wherever I go, I'm always there. Whenever I come, I'm always here.
Also Vietnamese is the Metta Buddharam Temple, known as the Buddha Dragon Temple, because of the dragon staircase that leads to the Buddha statue.
Qualvolta che vengo, sono sempre qui. Wherever I go, I'm always there. Whenever I come, I'm always here. Ovunque che vado, sono sempre lì.
The Chinese Tibetan Temple was established in 1945 by the Chinese government.
Wherever I go, I'm always there. Whenever I come, I'm always here. Ovunque che vado, sono sempre lì. Qualvolta che vengo, sono sempre qui.
And features a 200-year-old Buddha statue.
I'm always there.
The 80-foot meditating Buddha statue, 80 foot because Buddha lived to be 80 years old, was built by the Japanese from sandstone and granite and consecrated in 1989 by the Dalai Lama. The Tibetan Palyul Namdroling Temple features 1,000 Buddhas on its walls and portrays one of Buddha's miracles, when he manifested himself 1,000 times, sitting on a lotus, teaching Dharma simultaneously, to demonstrate his spiritual power and to defeat heretical teachers. They do have traffic underpasses in India. But only on some really busy roads. There's a lot of color in India. So much color. Color, color, color. So much color. Such colors like you've never seen. Color everywhere, but it's not what you think. It's in the fabric of things. The color is actually in the fabric of things. So much color, so many fabrics. That fabric of the Varanasi shoreline that I bought in Varanasi, I had it made into a tailor-made shirt, and it cost 500 rupees. That's $5 for a tailor-made shirt. Makes me want to dance.
Sir, photography is not allowed in the metro.
Why not?
You are infringing on others' privacy.
There are no signs to say I can't take photos. This is a public space. I can take photos.
There are signs everywhere.
Where? Show me the signs. I don't see any signs anywhere.
You'll have to delete the video.
Delete the video? Why?
You'll have to delete the video.
But...
You'll have to delete the video.
Okay. Damn. Bastard.
Ladies and gentlemen, we regret to inform you that due to a technical snafu, the film footage you were trying to delete has not been deleted. Please try again.
What the falafel? Oh my galoshes.
Attention! Illegal film footage about to be viewed. Please avert your eyes to avoid being implicated in an illegal activity.
1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha.
I get all my fun at Boy. That's Bank of India. That's where I get all my money for all my fun. Whatever were you thinking? Maximum withdrawal, 10,000 rupees. Sounds like a lot, but it's just $106. My epiphany in India came in talking about my painting. My parents moved 13 times by the time I was 15 years old. Painting became my alternative to the trauma of travel and a way of creating a world of my own that no one could take away from me. I paint every day, one painting for each day of the year, but each painting painted only on the day of the year assigned to it. When I return to each painting after a year, I create an organic and umbilical connection with the deepest part of myself through each painting, a psychic tapestry. Though I don't consciously keep track of each painting, something in me knows when I return after a year exactly what needs to be done next. My paintings are the means through which I meditate. I am in a constant state of meditation as I travel from one painting to another. Recognizing this made me really happy, connected, dizzy and lightheaded. And behold, I saw the Godhead everywhere. On every car dashboard, protecting and safely conveying the occupants and safeguarding the oncoming motorists and pedestrians on the street. The air was pregnant with the presence of the Lord. And Hanuman flying ahead of everyone. It is customary to ring the temple bell when you enter a Hindu temple. This aligns and focuses your spirit and alerts the gods to your arrival. After ecstatically chanting the Lord's name, a free meal is offered to all. And the same welcoming spirit is extended to everything. When construction comes, trees are not cut down. Construction works around the trees and leaves the trees in place. The only drawback, if one can say that there are any drawbacks to not cutting down trees, is that there are leaves falling from the trees all the time. and there's a constant sweeping of leaves going on everywhere, all day long. And then someone else comes along and rakes up all the little piles of leaves on the side of the road. And then that all goes to a garbage sorting facility. There is a lot of poverty in India, but when the city of Pune calls one of its poorest villages ideal colony, it's obviously not what you think. When you see this woman cooking on an open fire on the side of the street, you know it's the wealth of invention that makes her improvise like this. And when you see her granddaughter throwing a boulder like it was a ball, you know it's the richness of invention that makes her play like this. And when you see a woman sitting on the meridian strip, you know it's the bounty of invention that's driven her there. And when you see laundry out drying on the highway, you know it's the affluence of invention that gets that laundry dry. They do have an underpass in Ideal Colony. With a mural of soldiers on the battlefield, ready to fight whatever it takes to keep the colony ideal. At the other end of town, in Kalyani Nagar, the Ritz-Carlton towers on stilts over its surroundings and is enclosed by a 20-foot tall black marble wall. A lane runs alongside it, where people hang their laundry out to dry on the streets. There's even a Marian shrine and pictures of Jesus. Neither one is covetous of the other. Acceptance is the real wealth here. In looking at this orange statue of a god, I recognize that the slightly enlarged eyes of gods in Indian paintings that always seemed odd to me were actually like the eyes of the Indian people. And indeed, every Indian suddenly seemed like a god. I was transported and transformed as I looked into the eyes of people on the street and saw gods. India is indeed the land of the gods. I'm probably just drinking too much water. Oh my God! It's actually in the water, the God element. Everyone did warn me not to drink the water. But that still doesn't explain why there are these beautiful, delicate purple flowers blooming in the middle of winter. I'll tell you why beautiful, delicate purple flowers bloom in the middle of winter in India. Because the temperature is 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 32 degrees Celsius during the day in the middle of winter. That's why.
1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1 is a half. Ha ha ha. 1 plus 1.
In India, you can dance or park or drive anywhere you want, and everyone just works around you. Sometimes you even forget where you parked. As long as you follow the traffic rules, no one seems to mind. India India Jesus. India is a strange mix of incomparable and incomprehensible magic, mystery, myth, enchantment, charm, wonder, miracles, and orange. Orange is everywhere, and orange is the only color you notice after a while. And garbage. India is sadly full of garbage. All that glitters is not gold. But great effort is being made to clean up India. Still, in dirty water, the lotus may bloom. From my 5-star hotel room in Mumbai, I could see a temple, a football field, and slums just below my window across the street, and lots of new high-rise buildings going up.
One plus one is a
Though most Indians are not very forthcoming, in Mumbai they don't seem to mind sharing their dirty laundry from high-rise balconies everywhere. There were several temples near my hotel in Mumbai that I visited. But what I did not anticipate was a Christian shrine in a mostly Muslim neighborhood in the style of a Hindu shrine. enclosed and locked up, but with no crucified body on the cross. And the Virgin Mary with the Christ child at the foot of the cross. At first I thought that the Indians were too life positive to show a crucified Christ, but then, just a little way further along, I found another shrine with a crucified Christ. Television in India looks remarkably like television in America, Europe and Australia. Sensational news programs, interviews, sports and talent shows. With some very Indian twists, both traditional and modern. And of course, Amitabh Bachchan shows up in everything. The bus tour of Bollywood was unfortunately very disappointing. The bus pickup point was opposite a field of garbage.
You could see a well there and the shops, everything. Only the entrance of the
The
shop.
tour consisted mostly of looking at gates and fences beyond which TV shows and films were being filmed on closed sound stages.
Kind of thing. You could see the entrance of a school.
There were a couple of buildings on the site that the guide showed us on video that were used in several films, from different angles and with a fresh coat of paint, that we got to see and then explore up close.
Now we have one of the famous TV series on the right side. They shoot the setup of it. गाना इलेक्ट्रॉनिक नजर आएगा, एंट्रेंस नजर आएगी, सब कुछ अंदर ही बना के रखा है। जब जाने पड़ेगी चलो आगे। See, this is how. Yes, this is the setup of a very famous, popular TV series of our area. Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta. Fortunately, they covered it from all the sides.
The Bollywood theme park entrance was filled with sets from some classic Indian films. And first up, a ride on a digital roller coaster. And then a gallery of life-size stills from some classic Indian films that you could position yourself in. And finally, a quick and basic run-through of some film techniques, like blue and green screen. In a cinema dedicated to the first Indian director, Dada Saheb Phalke. I went to the 150-year-old Mangal Das fabric market in South Mumbai. 400 to 500 vendors all up against one another. Unbelievably hot. And no refreshment stands anywhere. I kept pushing and being pushed towards the mosque at one end. All I wanted in this sea of people and fabrics was another black Gandhi toppy. The mosque had an interior lake where the men could wash before entering the prayer hall. I noticed that all the men were lying down on the floor. I asked why everyone was lying on the floor. When I said I was not a Muslim, I was told to leave. My last day in India was spent walking through Mumbai's Dharavi slums, which are located next to Mahim railway station. Some people are even living between the railway tracks. At the entrance is a beautiful Hindu temple, one of the most beautiful I've seen. The slums are basically temporary residences set up by nearly 1 million squatters in the space of just 1.5 square miles. It has poor sanitation, but they do have running water and electricity. It is subdivided into Muslim, Hindu and Christian sections. In spite of limited resources and space, the residents of Dharavi have organized community-run, industrial-sized and strength recycling operations, which break down and recycle the city's waste, plastics and metals. They even manufacture their own machinery and tools. They also dye fabrics. which are then turned into clothes, trousers and dresses that are sold on international markets. And everywhere there is community and story. Storage and community. Across the river, the Hindu section. In the Hindu section, they process food items like grains. And have bakeries where they produce baked goods that they sell all over the city. Some of the living areas are very cramped and tiny. But there is an open recreational area right next to some high-rise apartment blocks. They also produce leather goods under the Dharavi label. The letter D with a heart in it, that is sold all over the world. There are thousands of small-scale household shops and workshops that provide essential needs for all the residents. And prayer is everywhere in sight. I had a delicious lemonade from a street vendor. Temples and festivals throughout the year require a lot of pottery. So there is a constant demand for all kinds of pottery. The living conditions are crowded, but they also appear to have a lot of modern conveniences, like widescreen TVs. There is currently a government initiative to replace the slums with modern high-rise apartments, commercial zones and recreational spaces. Each residence is being inspected and given a number. Space, size and location are all noted so that everyone gets the equivalent of what they have now. The slums were not at all what I expected. It all left me feeling agog. As the sun sets over Mumbai, I remain a small smudge on the view.
1 plus 1 is a
Pack my bags and head for the airport. Well, that's Mother India. In the bag. Okay, I admit it. The curries were too hot for me and gave me heartburn. So I went to McDonald's a few times.